He knows more than I want to know.
Yeah, there you go.
Great. Hello,
And she
everybody.
still loves you.
We see you all. Let us know that you see and hear us by giving us a wave or a thumbs up. Some of you are not muted. Please mute yourselves for us. Otherwise, if not, don't worry, we'll mute you, and we won't do it out of anger. We're just muting you to keep the audio good. Recognize a lot of you. So looks like we'll get started. So everybody, you know why you're here. You're here to see one of the coolest people in the history of the world, Miss Terry Farrell. And she's going to be interviewed and chatted with by the
Washer.
It was
You're so good. We need to hear it twice.
yeah, right. Everybody make sure you're muted, please. She's gonna be interviewed by Lolita Faggio, the other coolest person in the history of the world.
Yay.
And Joe and I are going to be your tech type people. So if you have any questions related to tech or anything like that, just message us privately in the chat here, Ryan or Joe. And, if you're having any issues. Other than that, we are going to have a question and answer period in a little while. So when it comes to that time, we'll ask you to raise your hand. We'll tell you where that function is, super easy. And other than that, enjoy the show. Thank you so much for joining us. And you guys are on.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Ryan.
So
I love
before we get started, I just want to thank all of you for donating to this hopefully phenomenal Voyager documentary. We are currently shooting. We're very excited that, things have eased up enough to where we're actually going to be in a studio for 10 days very soon. We've been catching up with a lot of people. We've been going to people's homes and interviewing them, but next week, like I said, we finally are getting into a studio. We got about 30 or 40 people that were scheduled, so we're really excited about it. But none of it could be possible without you, all you fans who graciously donated, and also to my dear friend Terry for giving her time to us and hanging out with me for the next 30 minutes or so. I really love you, and I can't wait to hug you.
I can't wait to hug you either.
Oh, Vegas is coming, baby. Vegas is coming.
I
so
know.
excited.
I can hardly wait.
Yeah.
I had a comment in July that just they cut the list to half in Houston, and I wasn't on that list, so I was like, oh, bummer.
Oh,
but
well,
what's kind of great is my first one back is with Creation, so
I think it's kind of like
they're
going
my
home.
team.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
Yeah, they've always looked out for me, Adam Malin. So yeah.
Yeah, and so many of us there,
You sign up. You're the remote next to you.
Uh-oh, somebody's not muted, I think. We good, Ryan?
Is that right?
I'll find him.
Okay. Anyway, so Terry, let's just start by just catching up a little bit. So it's been a year of this craziness. We've all been pretty much locked down. What have you been doing to keep yourself sane during this time?
Oh my gosh, sane. Well, therapy. That's been keeping me sane. Actually, I've been I was really good. I'm really good about taking my dog for long walks and reconnecting with my family in ways, because they're in Iowa, that even though we had Zoom and FaceTime and all of that, didn't really use it as much as we could have. So now it's sort of expanded to, I'll meet a sister for lunch, or cocktail hour on Friday night. No one's going anywhere, so we all kind of have a party together. Things like that, making that possible, and really grateful how we can have a blessing to COVID, which I have to find the positives in it. It's slowing down a lot more and not getting propelled by the energy of life, and how you can go faster than you can take it all in. And this has made me slow down, count my blessings, have a gratitude journal every day, 3 things I'm grateful for in detail, 3 things I'm doing well, and 3 things I can't control. So,
Oh,
yeah, that's really helped every day. I do it with a friend and we do it together and then we talk about it, which has been really helpful and I think helped me feel a little more even during this time.
sure.
And I just started doing my hot yoga again because I was doing it online, but it wasn't as satisfying. I need a class to keep me honest.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we
I'm
all
not in
do.
bad enough shape. I mean, you know me, I'm not in bad enough shape that you go, wow, Terry, you really got to pull it together.
No, you're
But
never,
I feel
never.
that way. Mm. And I just applied for a job there to be at the front desk. And part of that was because Max has 1 more year left, and I'm not comfortable with, being gone his very last year at home before he starts college.
Yeah.
But I thought I need to get out beyond traveling to conventions. And it's my community and it speaks to who I am and how I move through the world. And I'm in training right now. In fact, when I leave here, I'm going to my second training with the computers, which you think I'd
Oh,
be really good at, but I never use Google. So, I mean, other than to look something up, but they
right.
use all Google apps. And so I'm like, and mind, body. And so I'm learning about these two things. And it's so great. It's so great for my brain to have to work. But the last time I did it, when I got home, I was like, I'm brain dead.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's
Yeah. I
big.
know. Oh, but that's so fun. And you'll meet new people and just kind of be,
Yes.
yeah, that's fantastic. Speaking of Max, for those of you who don't know, Terry's son's name is Max, and he will be a senior in high school next year, correct?
Yes. Mm.
So I'm sure many people on this Zoom can relate to having children home during this COVID. How was that for you and Max? Did you guys, was it stressful? Did it bond you closer? I mean, tell us a little about that, please.
Okay, yeah. I think for him, I honestly, until I started doing a lot of Zoom meetings myself and getting myself involved in my communities in different ways, I didn't realize how stressful it was. And yeah, and how hard it's really hard on my eyes. It starts to
Hmm.
hurt. Yeah, it gets really
Yeah.
wearing. So I had a different kind of empathy for him. Compassion for him when I understood how it felt myself. But what was remarkable to me was the routines that felt really important pre-COVID to get us to school on time, get the homework done, have us eating right. Suddenly, it didn't matter. It didn't
Right.
matter. I mean, does it matter if he makes his bed at 8 o'clock in the morning or 2 in the afternoon? Doesn't really matter. And the
Right.
first portion of COVID, they weren't in school and they really weren't prepared. So they didn't meet every day. So what does a parent do with that? That was really
Yeah.
tough. I
And
think
they
it brought
can't
us
go out.
closer.
It's not like he could go out and meet with friends or anything. I mean, we were all stuck at home.
Yeah, we were all stuck at home. Really tough. I think with the thing he had really going in his favor was that he is a gamer. So there's a group of friends of his, and they just, their Fridays, their weekends became all about playing together online. And when there wasn't a schedule, now this year there's been a schedule. They are actually in class online an entire day.
Right.
Um, but when it first started, it was like, well, if he doesn't have school tomorrow, what does it matter if he stays up till 2 in the morning on Tuesday? So, I mean, I think those were some of the tough things that were important parental lessons to learn of like, sometimes there just aren't the same rules.
Yeah.
Let's eat
Exactly.
healthy and talk about stuff, but otherwise, but you know what? We're really close anyway, being that he's an
I know.
only, and I've always been an at-home mom, and he's always had a voice. So we've never had a struggle about having conversations. If anything, it was a really good time for me to listen to him asking for more independence. And he has a tutor, so his tutor gives him a bad time about getting his grades, and so
Right.
I let go of all of that. It took me a while, and Max was a very good teacher to say, "Mom, leave me alone."
Yeah. I don't need it from two people.
No, and I mean, 1B this year. and he's in advanced
Wow.
placement classes. He's a smart guy, so I have nothing to worry about.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I can't believe he's that
Super
old.
lucky. I know. I
Wow,
know.
it's crazy. But anyway, well, thank you for that. I was thinking earlier, it's like, what do we want to talk about? I'm curious because I've known you now for many years, but obviously didn't know you when you first started out. You were a model first, as we
Yeah.
know. But I'm curious, I loved Back to School. I still love Back to School, the movie. And you, first of all, was that your first acting job? And my second question is, what was it like to work with some of those major players? I mean, you were working with some pretty famous people. Was it intimidating? I mean, you were young and just really getting your chops in. So can you tell us a little bit about that, if you don't
Oh,
mind?
sure, not at all. No, it wasn't my first job, but it was my first like first and other than I would say it's probably the only production of a film that I ever did that was like a high-end production, you know.
Right.
Otherwise they were independents, and Hellraiser was an independent too.
Of course. Yeah.
But so but I was definitely in high hopes that that would be the beginning of a film career. But my personal life took me out of the anyway, that doesn't matter. The point is yes, I was very nervous. I was very nervous to even audition for Rodney. He was there, right there. And
Oh,
I was a fan of his growing up, right? He was super famous when I was young. And when I
yeah.
first moved to New York City at 17, I lived in an apartment building. Not my first one, but I ended up on First Avenue and 62nd Street, right down the street from Dangerfield's, his club.
Oh,
And
right.
yeah, so when I got the chance to work with him, it kind of felt like, no, this is too bizarre. You know, it was sort of like when I got Star Trek and I was a fan. So
Right. Right.
he was the nicest guy when I auditioned. He couldn't have been sweeter. And although I was, you know what, everybody was so down to earth and nice, you know, a kind, not nice.
Yeah.
Nice can be, uh, you know, perfunctory, but kind. Hung out with Burt Young, um, and they didn't have airs, and neither does Sally. Sally doesn't have any airs about her. She was
Right.
my
Right.
girlfriend on the set was Sally Kellerman. Oh my
Oh,
gosh, right? So
that's
cool.
fabulous. Yeah. Yeah.
And
What
yeah,
about
so
Robert?
super nice set. Everybody was super laid back. What was fun is the director was also shorter than his wife. So they thought it was adorable when I came in, and that Keith Gordon, now a fabulous director, amazing director, uh, was shorter than me.
Right.
And
Right.
it was all very sweet, you know. And Robert Downey Jr. Yeah, just
Just a nice group of people,
yeah,
kind group of
really
people.
kind. And we did a lot of waiting around because when we did the film, um, there was a portion of time where Rodney had to take a break because he had gout. So we had like a month where they had us on hold, and we were all making
Wow.
scale plus 10. But scale plus 10, when you're, were we all like 20 when we did it? I mean, every single one of us were like all the same age, right? Me
Right.
and Robert and Keith and Billy Zabka, we're all the same age. None of us had graduated high school in a normal way. All of us took GEDs.
Right.
I
Right.
think even including Burt Young and Rodney. And so it was like this kind of great collective of we're the misfits that took our GEDs. And here we are in college, which we
Yeah, that
never
is
did.
kind of weird. I would not have thought of that, but you're true. There you are, all in
Yeah,
college in this
yeah,
movie.
none of us had actually gone.
Yeah, that's great. Speaking of
Yeah,
Sally Kellerman, I've seen her at quite a few conventions over the years. Have you seen her and caught up with her? Do you guys?
I did one of our I was it the I think it was the last one we did in for creation in Las Vegas. Yeah. I have a picture of the two of us.
Oh, that's great. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
And but was I intimidated? I think there were a couple of guys I hardly ever had scenes with that, like, you know, Emmett Walsh and those guys, those older actors that I
Yeah,
didn't really connect with because they felt very intimidating to me.
right,
You know,
right. Yeah,
but like
of course. Yeah.
Sam Kinison, so nice, so funny. So mostly I got starstruck and it was really hard to audition for because I was
Yeah, I
starstruck with
bet.
Rodney. And he
Yeah.
was so kind and asked me to just don't worry, just relax. I'm a terrible auditioner like that. I just get so excited about the opportunity. It's hard for me to relax and be
Yeah.
on
Well,
stage. And, you know, once I'm at work, I'm fine, but the
yeah,
auditioning is really tough.
there's no doubt. That's the worst part of the whole experience of any of it. And you know, I know because I used to be an actress, but when I was working for Star Trek all those years in the writing department, and all these people would come in to pitch their story ideas, they'd been invited in, and it was
Yeah.
the same feeling. I felt so badly for them. They'd wait in my office, and the terror and the fear and the anxiety, because it's an audition, just a different sort
Yeah.
of audition. It's the worst part of it. But then when you get the job, there you
Mhm.
go. The best part.
Yeah. And the trick is to have the audition like you already have the job and you're a collaborator because that's what you are as an actor or
That's
a
right.
writer.
That's
But it's hard to
exactly
feel
right.
that way. All you have to do is get bitten a few times by some rude people to feel like
Yeah.
I'm kind of bracing myself if you say something rude that I won't like make me burst into tears.
Yeah. No, it's so treacherous. Well, speaking of the audition process, then I'm sure I've heard this, but I don't remember. What was your audition for Deep Space Nine like, and how did that all play out and start? And how did that happen through your agent? Or tell us that story, please.
Okay. It was I got it 91. The spring of 91, during normal pilot season, this character came up, but I'd read for Junie Lowry for a few things and she just didn't think I was right for it. It was like, oh, okay. Well, that's disappointing. And my agent was like, well, we'll just check back in later. And in the meantime, I read for everything I could read for at the time, and I ended up getting Red Dwarf. And we shot
Oh,
that pilot. So I thought, well, I mean, I didn't even think about the Star Trek thing again after that.
right, right,
But then they reviewed the pilot and they didn't like it. And my character really didn't, it didn't work. In the English version, it worked because it was a gay man, a gay black man, which made everything funny. He played the cat.
right.
It's not funny for a woman to play a cat. It's stereotyped to be the
That's true.
second cat is the woman. I mean, you're
Yeah.
it's it's not ironic. It's not ironic. So anyway, I they shot another pilot without me and let me go. And then I was up to read for more things again. And one of the things on the plate that were my agent was trying to get me in on was Deep Space Nine. Well, this is now like, you know, May or June. Nope. They're still seeing other people. They don't think you're right. Then August rolls around. They still haven't hired anyone, but they started shooting at the beginning of July. Now they're coming down to the only character they've not shot is
Right,
Dax.
right.
And so they let me come in. And and at that point, um, Marina was a an acquaintance from a mutual friend, as was Michael Dorn, and so I would say a pretty good acquaintance because she was very, you know, she's very accessible
Yeah,
on that level anyway. Um, and so I asked her to help me read for it. I don't think she really helped me so much in reading about it, but we hung out and talked and
right.
you know, she kind of gossiped with me about what the set's like and everything, which I think that probably made me more nervous. Um, and
Probably.
right. And she said I need to wear something skin tight, very revealing, because that's what the costumes are. And, you know, so I had a like heavy duty padded bra because she told me how much they like, you know, boobs.
It's true.
And I had big hair and I'm sure it was all way too much. Um, but I went in and I got the call back and I got to read with producers and I was saying Jadzia wrong. I wish I could remember how I said it wrong, but I was saying it wrong. And I was really I was really nervous because I was such a big fan of the original series, and I really wanted to read for this part, especially knowing that she was a science officer.
Right.
So she was beautiful. Um, thank you.
Like you.
And but she was brilliant and strong, and I thought I want to be more like that. So that would be a great thing to play, right?
Right. Right.
And then they had a second round of callbacks because there was somebody that didn't show up. Now, the somebody that didn't show up was somebody I'd read against for a lot of other things. And I was like, I do not want her to get it.
Right.
So
Anybody
I
but
said,
her.
anybody but her. So can I come back and read again? No, no, no. SAG law, there's a union law that says you can't read for it twice. They can't make you. I said, no, I know they can't make me, but I don't, I want to do it again
Yeah.
because if I'm willing to do it again, they know that I want the job bad enough to keep putting it on the line, right?
Yeah.
So I did, and I think I was even more nervous the second time, and I said something backwards or whatever, and I remember Rick Berman saying, "It's okay, just take a deep breath and start again," and I did, and it was great, and they told me I could go. So I was planning on going to see Michael, Marina, and Jonathan because I hadn't seen Jonathan for years because we did Paper Dolls together. That was
Oh,
my
right.
first
Yeah.
TV job anyway. Uh, the first series I starred in. And I get all the way down there, the red light's going, it goes off, they're about to come out to say hi to me. And then this golf cart comes out and whisks Miss Farrell, you have to come with me right now. You have to go back to Rick Berman's office. And I'm thinking, oh no, no, no. I just let
Oh,
all the
no.
lines go right out of my head. Don't make me have to say it. Read it again. And I went to
Oh,
the office and Junie Lowry and Rick and
probably Michael Piller.
yes, of course, Michael
Yeah.
Piller. Oh my gosh, I'm thinking, who was the third person?
Yep.
Yes, exactly. And they sat me down and they said, Terry, and I was like, already it was like, yeah.
Oh,
I can't remember exactly their words because I was so emotionally over the top. And they said, you got the part. And I started crying. And of course, my
oh,
mascara is everywhere. I probably looked like an anime, big hair, boobs. I was just like, oh
oh
my
my
God.
God. Right off Hollywood Boulevard.
Right off Hollywood Boulevard. I could have
That's
made a few
funny.
bucks before I
Yeah.
cried. And that was the beginning of it. And then there's screen testing and all this, the makeup testing and all of
Right.
this
All
costumes.
that.
And I started out with a forehead, and we didn't start shooting till the very, very end, ending up. So every day was me. And I was so nervous. I couldn't sleep. I must have lost like 15
I
pounds.
bet.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh. I'm 6 feet tall. I think I only weighed 130 at
Wow.
some point during
Wow.
shooting the pilot. Oh,
Yeah. I had
yeah.
forgotten about that. I had completely forgotten that that role had not been cast at the beginning because, of course, I was there through that whole period also. I had completely spaced that out. So, yeah, so they're under the gun to find someone. Their stress level had to have been increasing because they have to get those scenes shot. So,
Mhm.
wow, what a story. I would have broken
Yeah.
down too. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
it was too much pressure, really. And then you walk into ops and it was like, oh, holy cow, it was huge. It's
it's
like, I'm
huge.
not a stage actress and you're asking me to talk all the way across the
Well,
room.
exactly. And I don't think people realize how real those sets were. I mean, it
Yeah,
was
no. Until
huge.
you're on them, I don't think you can.
No,
Because
no,
who knows what an ops on a space station would be, especially that
exactly.
big. Our space station is literally so small. I'm sure they don't have that much space on the space station, on
No,
the
oh
real
no.
space station, in any of
Yeah,
their rooms.
no, of course not. They live in
No.
tight, tight quarters. But yeah, well, that's quite a story. So I'd forgotten that. Well,
Wow.
the rest is history. 6 seasons later.
Yes.
So
Wow.
now, when you went over to, it was Cheers, is that right? No, what was the show?
Becker.
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 Sorry, I had Ted Danson right, but not the
Of
show.
course.
And yeah, you're still on the same lot. what was the feeling of being on their sound stages versus Deep Space Nine? I mean, obviously the difference is there's no ops, there's no Quark's bar, all of that,
Yeah.
but into a real situation there, you know, more real life situation.
It was a big challenge. Well, first of all, it was a big challenge because being a half hour, one of the things I was thinking I really wasn't looking for a job where I had to have new lines every 10 minutes, but that's the nature of a half hour.
Yeah.
And just like Deep Space, it technically has to be perfect for the jokes to work, right? So you
Oh
can't,
yeah.
there's no ad-libbing. It's just supposed to look like it's that real, right? And at first, actually, a lot of the extras were Star Trek fans because we didn't have security.
Oh, interesting.
And then we had people coming in to try to get to my dressing room. Yeah.
Ugh.
And talking to me backstage while I was trying to get ready to go out while we're performing. So we ended up, they had to add a security guard because of me, which made me feel kind of bad because it felt like, oh, she's so precious. She needs a security guard kind of
Well, I'm
thing.
sure they knew it wasn't coming from you. I mean,
No, well, not
this,
specifically
I know.
producers, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I know.
Mhm.
But yeah, the
So
sitcom
that was
world
kind of
is
a
so,
tag.
yeah,
But it's
the
hard
sitcom
because
world
it's
is so
easier to be a
different.
hero.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
easier to be a hero than to be the one who can't do anything right, who's Reggie was human. She was jealous and petty, and she couldn't navigate her life.
So opposite of the role you played on Deep Space Nine.
Yeah,
So different.
probably a little too close to what I was going through in my real life. You know,
Well,
just busy being human.
exactly,
You
exactly.
know, it's not an easy business to grow up in.
No,
You
not
know,
for it.
especially being an actor, it's a whole other kind of, um, you can kind of escape reality. Well, feel like you're escaping reality
Feeling,
anyway for
yeah,
a while. You don't always have to
absolutely.
have your big person pants on.
Right, right, exactly. So
Yeah,
this is a perfect stopping point to let some of our fans ask you some questions. So
sure.
we could do this all day, but
I know.
these wonderful human beings that again so graciously
Oh,
donate, you guys. I
yes.
can't
Thank you,
thank you
everyone.
all.
You actually made me feel so good. I was like, oh, I hope everybody signs up. I
Oh,
feel
you
really
were the
bad.
one of you and Nana, I think, were the first to sell out. So
Yay! And we weren't even on their show.
no, exactly. So okay, Ryan.
Mm. Here I
Hello.
come.
There you guys.
So that was really cool, you guys. That I
Thank you.
think we could listen to you guys talk for like 5 hours straight. It's
And
really
we
a
could
Just
do
pleasant
hear us at
conversation.
cocktail hour, right,
yeah,
Mo?
we haven't even had cocktails yet. Yeah,
Uh,
just put us in a hotel room and we gab all night long.
that's
Oh,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
it
So
shows.
true.
It shows that was really nice. And Terry, I hope you do audiobooks someday. Your voice is so pleasant and soothing and nice. I hope that you get
Oh, I
into
would
that at
love
some
to do
point.
that. Yeah, I did it a long time ago and it made me really nervous because I think I was just too inexperienced to do it. You know, it was a little overwhelming, but I think now would be a much better time in my life. I think my voice too is better than it was when I was younger. There's something about the more confident you feel, the lower the range goes.
Interesting.
true.
So
Thank
interesting.
you.
So
Thank you
looks
for the
like
compliment.
everybody's way ahead of us already and raising their hands.
Wow.
So
Look at
everybody,
that.
we'll get to as many questions as we can. Obviously, we can't promise to get to everybody. All of you listening in at home, if you have any kind of question or something you'd like to pose to Terry, in the bottom right of your screen, you'll see a button that says reactions. Click on that and click raise hand. And it'll be like standing in line at a convention to ask a question of the guest. So that's the bottom right of your screen. It says reactions. Just click raise hand and we'll get to as many of you as we can. Now, lastly, if you have your video running, we can bring you up, kind of like how I brought myself up here, and you'll be pictured with Lolita and Terry. If you don't have your video up and just want to remain anonymous, no problem. We'll just listen to your audio. Then you just unmute yourself and we'll just listen in. Cool. It's going to be fun. So we are going to start. I'm going to remove myself here, and we are going to start with Franklin. Hello, Franklin. Make sure to unmute yourself.
Hello, hi. So Terry, before I ask my question real quick, I just want to let you know that your work as Jadzia has been incredibly inspirational for me in my own journey of being non-binary. The way that you masterfully danced across the entire spectrum of gender in your role as Jadzia helped me to find my place in the universe and helped me to not be afraid of those questions of gender. And so I just want you to know that that's your legacy that you're giving to all of us who are trans and non-binary. And it's going to be something that is going to impact generations, and it's going to continue to impact me. And so the question that I wanted to ask has to do with that, which is, at the time that you were shooting Deep Space Nine, I'm curious if there was any kind of conversations or any kind of just awareness that was something that was happening through the character of Jadzia, which is that gender roles, kind of the hard structured gender roles were being confronted through Jadzia and through her experiences of both the masculine and the feminine, and how they were kind of focused through your character.
Yes. Yes, very much. And I think that how it structurally looked was because we talked about, that Dax was a man and Dax was a woman, or not Dax, the symbiont Dax was in a man and in a woman, right? So that Dax retained the memories of every host would know that I, Jadzia, because of the symbiont, would understand how it felt to be a man and to be a woman, or at least in all of these certain entities, how it felt for them to experience that particular gender. And I did not know the word pansexual at the time, but even with the different aliens she was with and whatever that means, it's just like such a great thing, because I have a nephew who is transgender, and when I explained to him, because he'd never seen Star Trek, because he was born after, way after I was on Star Trek, and when I explained to him that's who Dax was, and he probably should check that out, it was like a weight lifted off of him. And I am so, I'm so honored to have gotten to play her. And because I was a tomboy and I'm 6 feet tall, and there's things about me that, I get stereotyped because I'm a tall woman who's strong and physical and athletic, and that can be intimidating for a lot of men. But also I can be, very feminine and feel like I'm more demure than my body gives away that I am. So I personally can relate to feeling both, like a balance between my masculine and my feminine side, for lack of a better way of putting it. Yeah. And so I feel like it was a real honor to feel really in my skin getting to play her. And I'm so honored she touched your life, because I have goosebumps and just on the verge of tears with just pure joy and gratitude to have touched your heart,
Thank
and
you.
made you feel accepted. That's the most important thing we can all feel, right?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks very much. I'm going to remove you. Thank you.
And actually, here's my Pride kombucha.
Wow.
Is that hilarious? Yeah, I just texted Max to bring me one.
So up next, Ruby has had some tech issues, wasn't able to raise her hand, but we are calling on you next, Ruby, if you're ready.
Cool.
I'm adding you right now. Just make sure to unmute yourself.
Hi, Ruby. Oh, you're muted.
There you go.
Can't hear you.
You should be unmuted right now, Ruby. Try speaking.
Anybody?
Hmm.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Now.
Doggone it. What
Yes,
is
we
this?
can. We can hear you
Yeah,
now.
there's just a
Hello?
little delay.
Yes.
No?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Now it's working. Oh, what to ask? Okay, good. First of all, Terry, hi. Thank you for doing this. I loved Jadzia. She's the coolest. And question. What is one storyline that you never got to do for Jadzia that you wish you could have done? Let's see here.
Oh boy.
Anybody hear me?
Yes, I'm thinking.
Can anyone hear me? Darn it.
Actually, I found it kind of
Oh, okay.
perplexing that I was Curzon, that was Benjamin's mentor, but I didn't have a close relationship with Jake. That really bothered me. So I think that I would have had more of, there would have been more of an interaction,
Oh, yeah.
which I would have thought would have made it a really interesting, because kids are usually more receptive and open to differences. So that could have been a very interesting relationship to have, because he would have known me at me being an old man and now I'm a young woman. It would have been an opportunity, and he lost his mother. So, you know, it could have been an interesting relationship, I think.
Yeah, that's cool. Thanks.
Thank you for asking.
Oh,
It's a good
and
question.
Oops.
Great.
Come here, Natima. Just wanted to show you this one. She was for me
Aw,
all day.
Well, thanks very
beautiful.
much,
Say hi,
Ruby,
Natima.
and thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Ruby.
Great. Up next, we have Jadzia and Tony Winter. We are going to bring you on right now. Just make sure to unmute yourself.
Hello.
Wow, the whole family.
Hi. My name is Jadzia. I was named after your character.
I wonder if oh, thank you.
I was actually curious if you know how the origin of the name came about for Star Trek. Why they chose that name.
I don't. Doesn't it mean warrior though in some
Yeah,
language?
from what I've kind of found, it's a Polish name, but it's like a Polish nickname of, I don't know, it was kind of interesting. So I was curious how they found it, because I know it's not like a easy to find kind of Polish name.
Right. I don't know, but you know what? It would make sense that she's a warrior, especially seeing that she ended up so tight with the Klingons.
Yeah.
Right?
Basically,
I wish
yeah.
I had a better answer. Lolita, do you know?
I don't. You know, I was just thinking it would have been from either Michael Piller or Rick Berman originally.
Yeah, and probably Pillar, because he's the one who created her.
Yeah, and so I don't know if that's in his book, or we're going to interview his wife Sandra for the Voyager documentary. If I remember, I'll ask her. But I honestly don't remember. I don't know. But it is a beautiful name, nonetheless.
Yes.
Tell them
You're
the
a beautiful
favorite
namesake.
character you have of saying who you like saying it best when.
Oh, I really like when Dr. Bashir says the name. I like the way
I like that accent no matter what they say.
Exactly.
English accent is like, whoa.
And the reason we named her Jadzia, obviously back when she was born in 2000, but when it was the, like you said, the intelligence, the beauty, and that was what we were hoping for.
For our
We
first
obviously
child,
got
this
it.
is what he
So
wanted. So.
It looks like you got it.
she did.
You got it.
She's fantastic. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
It was
Yeah.
really nice to meet you. Thank you.
Thank
Nice
you.
to meet you too.
Thank you so much, Jadzia and family. So up next, we have Kyle Calderwood. Kyle, we're going to bring you on here. Just feel free to unmute yourself and you're on.
It's funny. It's a funny segue because I just yelled to my wife. So I said, see, they let their name their kid Jadzia. I got shot down when hello, it was nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
One of my favorite episodes of all of Star Trek is the Trials and Tribulations. So I was just curious what that episode works on so many levels, especially your play with Avery and the back and forth. I was just curious if you could give us a little bit about that episode and how that went down, and your memories of that one.
Well, I do remember them bringing it up and saying that this would be it was groundbreaking, and we're making television history by marrying those two shows together. It had never been done before, and I was just so excited because to me, I got to do the dress up that in the world I loved as a little kid. So it really felt like I was revisiting my childhood on a lot of counts. And I was really great because they wrote it like that for me to be able to be excited and take it all in.
And you can totally tell.
Yeah, right. And they sent me to New York to promote it because I was the one who was the most excited about the episode. I think what was really inspiring was that everybody in every department, everyone got to do something new and different they'd never done before.
Right.
So everyone felt like they were stretching their wings. And I thought that was a remarkable opportunity that the production did for everyone. Right down to because they had to copy everything from pictures, right? They didn't have anything practical to go from, even right down to the details on our costumes. They didn't have anything, so they had to essentially take the picture and make it up. What else?
I mean, it was nice to see the dynamic between you and Avery, especially with the comedy, because I don't think Avery up to that point had been letting the comedic part show.
No, well, neither one of us had scenes like that together. They were usually pretty deep and heavy, and if we did have something, it would be tiny. What was actually really nice too, because it was further into the series, we all had so much experience doing green screen and looping and stuff, that when we had 3 days of green screen to make everything meld together, we all trusted each other. So it was second nature. It was easy. It was fun. It wasn't stressful at all. Absolutely everything about that episode was just fun, except for the guys who were stuck in the lunchroom, the cafeteria. Yeah, it was pure joy.
Oh, thank you very much.
One of the fun things too, tribbles. We took a ton of tribbles down to the LA subway and put them everywhere. It was insane.
Did you steal any?
I didn't need to steal them.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you for your question.
Thanks, Kyle. We're going to remove you now. Now up next is Alex Bucher. Alex, feel free to unmute yourself. There's no video, so we'll just be listening in. Go ahead.
Hey, Terry. My question is about more of the Trill in general. As you may or may not know, the Trill have been brought back in season 3 of Star Trek Discovery, in the form of Adira Tal being the symbiont. And I was wondering if any of the new guys on Discovery maybe consulted you about like any of the nuances or like the mannerisms of the Trill species.
No, you know what? I watched the first 2 seasons, and then I just got busy watching Netflix.
Happens to the best of us.
No, they did not. But you know what? It's their reincarnation of the Star Trek franchise, I think, I mean, the Klingons don't even look the same, so it's their like J.J. Abrams incarnation of the movies, right? So we just kind of honor that. And so since that's a new thing, I'm sure they just want to have their own spin on it. I mean, if they want to
Awesome.
know
Thanks,
what I
Terry.
think, all they have to just watch an episode. I'm sure they get what they need from that.
Exactly. Yeah. Thanks, Terry.
Thank you. Good question.
Thanks, Alex. Up next, Joe M. We are going to bring you on. Let's see. No video here, so it's just audio. Feel free to give it a go.
Okay, thank you. And thank you all for doing this. My question was inspired by the What We Left Behind documentary. And I've wanted to ask this since seeing it, where they had the writer's break, sort of a, what would an 8th season have looked like, right? And I wanted to ask you, Terry, in some, alternate timeline where you had not only been an actor, but also a writer, maybe an executive producer on the series, where Jadzia lives, what would your season 7 and season 8 have looked like? Have you ever thought of that, where you would have taken that character if Jadzia had survived, things that you would like to have seen happen?
Wow. Well, quickly, I'm just trying to run like I was pregnant, right? I wonder if I'd have to struggle with, this would be fun stuff, to struggle with the cultural differences of raising the child as either a Klingon or a Trill. Would Worf and I have butted heads over that? And working mom versus not working mom, would I have the baby and a baby Bjorn while I'm doing my lab work and stuff? You know what I'm saying? What would that look like? So I guess those would be the two things that pop to my head right away.
That's great.
And,
Thank
and,
you.
and
very
as
much.
for, even if I didn't live, Spock came back to life. I'm kind of partial to his storyline. And so I figure, I don't see why we couldn't have cloned me.
I hear that.
They could even add like an age chip, so it'd go like, oh, well, and that's why she looks like she does right now. And if I'm cloned, then maybe oh wait, Esri doesn't make it either, does she? Well.
Spoiler alert.
Wow, 30 years ago, really?
Really?
I'm not gonna worry. Seriously though, so then then it could just be me again. I'm just saying.
I didn't know Esri died because I never watched them.
Well, catch up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks very much. Terry, how's the kombucha, by the way?
I know it's really good. You know what?
Nice.
Not that I need to sell this, but it's the Pride edition.
Mm-hmm.
And it is lavender, chamomile, jasmine green tea kombucha. It's Brew Dr. Kombucha. Oh, Brew Dr. Love. Mm-hmm. And I get it from Imperfect Foods. I have not found this anywhere else.
For those of us in LA, where is Imperfect Foods?
Oh, you go online and it's a service. And it really is imperfect food. It's like the stuff that they can't sell at the grocery store. So you get a discount.
Cool.
And there are other things where they've excess inventory and whatnot, but.
And it's not just in Los Angeles. It's everywhere. Yeah.
You can even have
it's good vegetables.
Cocktail. You can add a shot of vodka to it, and it's a lovely.
There you go. It's almost 5 o'clock somewhere.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. I'm not now. You saw me open. I'm not drinking. I actually have to go work at the yoga studio after this. So
that's right.
That's Modo Yoga. Modo Yoga. Moda. Oh my gosh! 3 times fast. I'm sorry. Who's next?
Great. And Joe, you said it's good vegetables too, Joe?
Yeah, they look ugly, but the vegetables are fine. But they can't sell them in the supermarkets because everybody thinks they.
You get it too, Joe? Of course you do.
Yeah. We saw it on Jamie Oliver's show. He first saw it in the UK, and they brought it here.
Yeah, they mess up sometimes, and but I get. When COVID started, it was a blessing. Adam's daughter Maddie turned us on to it, and it's just I don't know why I would stop doing it. It feels like it's also a nice social responsible thing to do too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got about 10 minutes left, and I'm so glad that we've moved through enough questions to get to Garrett the Carrot. I've been just waiting to say that for 50 minutes. So please, Garrett, you are up next. Just make sure to unmute yourself.
Hi, Terry. It's so
Hello,
exciting
Garrett.
to talk to you. I actually am in the credits of What We Left Behind as Garrett the Carrot too. So,
Yay!
I saw you speak in Boston. Oh, it was a number of years ago. And like I follow you on social media, and Nana Visitor is also very active on social media. And since this is the Voyager documentary, Robbie and Garrett have this amazing podcast where they go really in depth into every single episode of the show. They watch each episode weekly. And I was wondering, have you ever considered doing a Deep Space Nine podcast?
Did you ask me this in one of my Instagrams?
I might
I'm
have.
like,
It's
me and
possible.
Nana? Because did you say like, because somebody said on one of my Instagrams, and it must have been a picture of me and Nana, because it was like the two of you should do this. It must have been you.
I'm trying to plant the seeds here.
Plant the seeds. Yeah, I think that would be fun, actually.
And truth be told, when I saw you in Boston, I haven't been to a zillion conventions, but I was so impressed by how much thought you gave to each of the questions, today, just like today, that I think people would be very interested to hear your perspective.
Thank you.
Just planting the seeds there.
Planting the seeds, Mr. Carrot Man. I'm a gardener too. I don't know which vegetable I would be, but I love that you're a carrot. And I like that you're
I work with young children, and it's something that helps to engage them. So.
Oh, that's so sweet. And you're obviously a fan of theater. Are you in New York?
I am in New York, yes.
Miss New York so much. Is Broadway coming back?
September. Yeah.
September.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. We're counting the days.
I bet.
So yes, my wife and I got together because of theater, our love of viewing theater. But then I introduced her to Star Trek, and now she loves Star Trek too. So
that's sweet.
And my son is named Benjamin.
Stop.
We said if the second child, we're not pregnant yet, but if we have a second child, if it's a boy, it'll be Dax. And please don't be angry at me if it's a girl, it's going to be Ezra.
Oh. Look, it doesn't even enter my mind. I'm like, Kira.
Actually, my wife had talked about Nerys being the middle name.
Oh, that's a good one. But Ezra is a beautiful name. I'm not mad at you.
Thank you. No, you are actually my favorite, but as a name, I really like
am the original.
That's right.
So there's nothing to feel bad about. No one can take my shoes. They're too big to fill. Literally, her feet, 3 of her feet could fit in my shoes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Garrett. I almost called you Carrot back. So thank you, Garrett.
My students call me Mr. Carrot.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's cute.
All right.
That's cute.
Up next, we have Edward Chick. Feel free to unmute yourself. You are on with Terry.
Hey, hello. This is fantastic. Thank you for doing this. I used to watch DS9 after school. My favorite part of the entire series was always the relationship between Jadzia and the captain. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. It really informed the rest of my career. I work in, I guess, second closest thing after space travel now to what happens on DS9. I work in cloud computing. So a lot of my career work as I grew up. So it's been really cool.
Super cool.
Yeah, I have a really quick question. Would you ever have you been approached before, or would you ever be interested in doing something like Star Trek Lower Decks, which is a bit more of an experimental show, but there's been characters from Next Generation and DS9 and Voyager. I'd love to see you on the show if you're interested.
What's it called?
Star Trek Lower Decks is an animated show that came out last year.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I can't remember what happened with that. Yeah, that would probably be a good idea. It'd probably be fun, especially if I'm back to life.
Yeah.
They jump around in time a little bit. That's why Lower Decks specifically came to mind.
Oh, right on. Is that the one that Kate's in?
She's doing a new one that hasn't come out yet. Lower Decks debuted last summer, I think, and I think season 2 is out in a couple of months.
Oh, okay. Okay. And Kate's show hasn't come out yet. What's that one called? I forgot.
I am drawing a mental blank. but
Prodigy.
Oh, there you go. Yes.
Prodigy. Yeah. There's so many now, it's hard to keep track of them. I mean,
Yeah,
Mike,
we're back to in the 90s when there were too many of our shows.
exactly. It's crazy.
Saturated.
I also live in Toronto, so like a lot of the shows are filmed like 30 minutes from me.
Right.
You're in Toronto?
Mhm.
Also,
I live in the
obviously a San
suburbs,
Francisco
but
fan.
Pinewood, Toronto's downtown.
I love Toronto. I worked there a couple times. It's a great city to work in.
Yeah, it's a
Great
fantastic
food
restaurant
there.
scene, which I'm sure you know.
Restaurants, awesome
Yeah,
food
amazing,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, for real. It's like a little New York.
Mhm.
I always say it's the safer, cleaner, and now only slightly cheaper New York. So it's a good time.
Slightly.
Slightly at this point, yeah.
Yeah, but awesome. Wow, thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
your question.
Thanks again.
Thanks very much, Edward.
Pleasure.
Up next is going to be Andrea McCardle, I think is how we say that name. We're bringing you on, Andrea. Make sure you unmute yourself. I think you're still muted there.
Thank you. Hi, Terry. Very absolutely beautiful to meet you, man. I firstly would like to echo Franklin. Number one, I'm 48 now, but at the time when Deep Space Nine came out, I had all these. I never felt male, never felt female, never felt. I didn't fit in with gay, straight. You know, it was, and I felt very isolated. And I have to say, to be honest, meeting Jadzia and the way you played her, which, you know, the writing was great, but no other actress could have done it. You could switch from a almost old man to woman. It was just so beautiful to see.
Thank you.
And I connected so deeply with her. It kind of made me feel okay about myself, and it's taken a lot of time to sort of to get through. But I really wanted to say that to you because you were a very special and one of my. But you are. I have Janeway, yourself, Cisco, and Spock. They're my favorite characters of all time. So yeah, Jadzia, thank you so much. I would like to ask you, just what's your personal favorite episode?
Just one.
Well, or you think? Yeah, no, exactly.
I would say I would just say, that's hard. But
that's a really hard one for Deep Space Nine. It's impossible, actually. But,
well,
yeah.
there's probably a handful, but one that I'm most proud of because it's specific to touching so many people, and that it was something that actually made such a fluster that they preempted it and they didn't air it, was Rejoined.
Yeah. You were amazing in that, by the way. You were absolutely amazing. Oh no, absolutely beautiful performance that was.
You. I'm really proud of that one. I'm proud of it really for the social impact it had, and interestingly, I really did not think so. I thought we were far more progressive than we are. Which subsequently, how life has been going the last 10 years has been really sad that we are not more
progressive,
open and accepting and progressive. It was remarkable to see. Astonishingly, really. I mean, astonishing to me. But that's, I guess, the bubble that I'm in. You know, in the people I have around me, and in the world I've lived in, of acceptance of, you know, love is love. That's just what it is. There's nothing more important
Absolutely.
than
But
it, and it shouldn't have a definition.
it was groundbreaking.
Yeah. Proud. Really
Yeah.
proud. I'm
I think, don't
proud
think
that
it was
they
aired
wrote
in the
it.
United Kingdom. I think it was. Sorry. Oh, I think my internet connection is really bad, but it wasn't aired here till I think it slot that DS9 had. It was aired. They wouldn't air it. It created so many waves, and it was just. But it was a beautiful episode.
It was. I think
Absolutely
you were
beautiful
behind
episode.
us a little bit
Yeah.
too anyway in the airing. Sorry, I shouldn't use my
Yes.
hand.
Yeah. Yeah. Just as my personal favorite episode ever is of all of Star Trek, and I'm a massive Trekkie, but is Far Beyond the Stars, which it was equally as
Yes.
groundbreaking an episode.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah,
Avery
you
did a
did some
great
magic
job
with Deep
directing it.
Space Nine.
Mhm.
Oh, Cisco, man. I love him. Absolutely adore him.
know,
But yeah,
right?
it was groundbreaking Deep Space.
Yeah,
I
and that
know.
was real
Oh,
for him.
wow.
That was real for him.
Yes, I know. Absolutely. Oh, it was amazing. Beautiful performance. What an actor. He's a beautiful actor as well. It was a lovely cast, and you did some amazing work. So, and you touched people's lives. You were as revolutionary as Spock, I'm telling you. Amazing. Thank you so much, Terry.
Thank you. I know.
Right.
I want to thank everyone for coming. I don't know where we're at with this, but I
Right.
love all of you for coming. I so appreciate your time, and I appreciate you supporting my friends and their documentary for Voyager. We're all a Star Trek family. We all pull together, and I love my friends at Voyager. They're just an amazing team of people, and I'm really grateful to call quite a few of them my friends.
Thank you so much. Thank you again. What Terry said, thank you all so much. And of course, Terry, thank you for giving us your time today. It was wonderful.
My honor, my pleasure. I love you guys.
Now, how many of you are going to Vegas out there?
Star Trek Las Vegas in August.
Yeah, nobody. We can't wait. I'm counting.
I'll be there.
Literally counting down the days.
So everybody at home, this is the end of this Zoom. We are going to be taking 2 or 3 or so weeks off from these Zooms, but only for the best of reasons, because we're going to be shooting a huge chunk of the interviews for this awesome documentary that you made happen. So thank you all so much for that, because that wouldn't be happening at all if it weren't for you. And also, thank you for your patience, Greg, Jay, Ben, Derek, Belinda, Anais, Jameson, and Mary Jack for your patience. Sorry we couldn't get to your questions, but we do very much appreciate all of you. Thanks to Garrett the Carrot for making us laugh. And Terry, as we've all said a million times, thank you so much for doing this. I mean, we really appreciate it when people, donate their time and their effort and their talents just for the goodwill of other people. And that's definitely the Star Trek way. And you made our day. So thank you so much.
Thank you. You made
Thank
mine.
you,
I love
everyone.
guys.
Thank you, everyone.
I miss you guys.
I know.
We'll see you in August, though.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Terry,
Great.
love you. Talk to you soon.
I love you too.
Bye, Terry.
Bye,
Love
guys.
you.
Bye, Joe. I
Thank
love you,
you.
and I love you, Ryan.
See you all
Bye,
soon.
everyone.
Say
Thank
hi
you.
to your team for me.
Will do.
You know it.
Okay.